Hitman 2 is right around the corner. We're big fans of the games here, so to keep you informed before the game drops, we're going to catch you up with 10 things you need to know about Hitman 2. Starting off with number 10, one of the biggest changes made to the last Hitman was it being specifically episodic, and with Hitman 2, they're backpedaling on that a little bit and making it non-episodic. While Hitman did review really well and a lot of people liked it, there was a lot of people that just weren't really into the episodic approach. Thankfully, it didn't do much to hurt the game because it still was really good and was fairly successful. Instead, this time around, the game will launch with 6 big sandbox maps that you'll have to tackle. Completing your main mission while also taking on side objectives is the name of the game, and it's worth noting that there will also be maps added later down the line. I'm happy to hear that ditching the episodic format didn't mess with the new level design and gameplay approach, because I think Hitman works really well with bigger and more open maps, and the sandbox approach for Hitman is very smart. If it sounds like 6 maps isn't a lot, the game really emphasizes replayability. There are so many different ways to tackle scenarios, and the game gives you so many different types of missions and objectives, including elusive targets and stuff later on through online content, that it's actually surprisingly awesome. At least it was in the first Hitman game, so we're hoping it is here. Next at number 9, one giant, huge omission from the last Hitman game was Agent 47's suitcase. You know the cool black briefcase that he would use to carry that really big sniper rifle in? Yeah, that one. For some reason it was left out in the last game. I always found it odd that it wasn't in there. It's just as iconic as 47's silver ballers that aren't quite in the game either, but now, thankfully, the suitcase makes a return. And you have lots of opportunities to use it and take out your sniper rifle and, do your Hitman thing. One thing that does seem to be a little bit of a bummer is that the actual assembling of the sniper rifle animation is cut from the game, so basically he just blinks a sniper rifle out of the case. It's so small, it's such a petty complaint. This is really a minor point for deeper Hitman fans, but we wanted to bring it up. Next at number 8, let's talk about some post-launch content. Now, in a not at all surprising move, IO Interactive has plans to support Hitman 2 well after launch. Seeing how much they gave the first game, this isn't really news. We're going to be getting 2 paid expansion passes, each one coming with new locations, weapons, missions, and sniper maps. And if the maps are as big as the previous game, there's going to be more than enough to keep you busy in terms of content, hopefully. Then we're also getting some free add-on content as well as their elusive targets that are making a return from the previous game. Speaking of elusive targets, that brings us to our next point though at number 7. Owners of the previous game will get a DLC add-on called the Hitman Legacy Pack for free when Hitman 2 rolls around. This pack will contain all 6 of the maps from the previous game, so on top of Hitman 2 levels, you'll also be able to mess up dudes in the versions of Paris, Sapienza, Marrakesh, Bangkok, Colorado, and Hokkaido that have been basically beefed up and enhanced for Hitman 2. Said enhancements include new gameplay features like picture-in-picture, the security camera aids, higher fidelity crowds, as well as new items that you can use in those old maps like 47's briefcase. That's a lot of extra content added to the game, and we're really hoping that it's going to provide like a kind of different, fresh take and reason to replay the previous games, because those were some good maps and some good situations. At number 6, let's acknowledge Sniper Assassin. Now, Hitman Sniper Assassin is this new side activity announced with the game, and it's available when the game launches or early with a pre-order. Sniper Assassin sees 47 perched in a sniper nest overlooking a mansion containing the mission's targets, bodyguards, and a slew of other bystanders, with Agent 47 having 15 minutes to take out the various targets assigned. Now, you'll need to figure out how to influence the world and create the perfect opportunities in a crowded space in order to get some clean executions, and it looks to feel way more like a puzzle game than regular Hitman levels, and that's saying something. There's also, awesomely, a co-op option for this mode, where each player has a different ammo type, and you'll have to work together to get the job done. It's an interesting spin on the Hitman formula, and here's hoping they stick with it and expand on it going forward, but we'll have to wait and see just a few more days. Now, at number 5, let's break down a couple new features. First up, the game has added a grid that can show the field of vision for each individual security camera. This allows you as 47 to more carefully plan out your routes and avoid detection or compromising your disguises. Next with that is the new picture-in-picture feature, which adds a bit more context to various events in the game. Like, for example, when a body is discovered, you'll see a small picture-in-picture video of the body being discovered, so you can know exactly how you screwed it up to let you know next time. Think of it almost as like a kill cam in a multiplayer game for, seeing your fuck-ups and learning from them. The game game also brings in smaller things that were added to the previous game when Hitman 2 was announced, such as functioning mirrors that enemies can actually see you in, which is pretty cool. Moving on to number 4, the Elusive Targets from 2016's Hitman are making a return in Hitman 2, and I think that's some of the best shit. If you didn't know, Elusive Targets were like these unique, limited timed assassinations that you had one shot at. If you failed, that was really it. It was a really cool idea that they continued to support the game with long after release, and it did a really good job of really embracing those sandbox levels and just giving you more longevity out of the game, and Hitman 2 is set to see similar support. What we know is that the first Hitman 2 Elusive Target is called The Undying, and will feature the likeness of actor Sean Bean, or Sean Bean if you can't read. And Sean Bean is, of course, very well known for dying in his movies, so it's kind of a funny thing for them to add, and we're looking forward to seeing who else they add in weeks to come. I mean, the last Hitman game had Gary Busey, so who knows what we're gonna get. But at number 3, at a small point, one thing that Hitman 2 does way better than previous entries is crowds. The Miami level that we got to play at E3 had something like 2,000 people running around in it. And what was really cool was that IO did a really good job with not repeating skins too often, so the crowd actually came off fairly realistic and unique with a bunch of different people in it. This big crowd isn't just here to look nice and show off like in some games, it's actually there to use. 47 can actually use the crowd to blend in and hide from enemy NPCs. Think of the earlier Assassin's Creed games. In the demo we played, that kind of worked as cover, so instead of waiting for a guard to move, you run from cover to cover, you're instead running from crowd to crowd. We're really curious to see if this translates over to other maps, because some of the other maps are more sparsely populated, so I hope they utilize this technology pretty well. Next at number 2, Hitman 2 is introducing a new 1v1 multiplayer mode called Ghost Mode. In this Ghost Mode, you compete against another player to cleanly take out targets as fast as you can to rack up 5 points before your opponent. In order for a kill to count, it has to be unnoticed and the body can't be found for a short while afterwards. Eliminating non-targets will lose points, and once the target is eliminated, both players will start the hunt for a new one. You'll also get aid from ghost crates where you can pull items and disguises and weapons from them to help you out as kind of like a little variation, but you can only take one, and whatever you remove won't be available for the other player, which is a pretty interesting spin requiring different tactics from each player. It's worth noting that while you're in the same map, you're in different instances, so like you can't kill anyone in your opponent's reality, even though you can technically see them, but you can mess with them with ghost items, like throwing a ghost coin, which will attract attention in the opposing side's reality. Little twists like that allow you to kind of impact your other player and keep this really highly competitive. You gotta be good at assassinations. It's a really cool twist, honestly, on like a multiplayer stealth mode. Makes sense for Hitman, and we're interested in seeing more once we get our hands on it. Now finally at number 1, we got some housekeeping to get out of the way, like always. Hitman 2 launches officially on November 13th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. There's a few different editions to purchase from, of course, if you're into that. There's the standard edition, there's the silver digital only edition, which is $80 and comes with the base game, additional in-game items, and the first expansion. Then we have the gold edition, which includes everything the silver edition, plus gives you 4 days early access to the game, plus expansion 2. Then of course we have the big collector's edition that's gonna run you $150 and comes with the gold edition stuff and a bunch of little toy accessories, including Agent 47's briefcase, which is kind of cool. Hitman 2 is also gonna have Xbox One X and PS4 Pro enhancements with 4K and HDR support. Hitman 2 is dropping very soon, and we wanna hear from you guys in the comments. What do you expect? If you've never played a Hitman game, is this gonna be your first one? Are you looking forward to it? Maybe you played the hell out of the last one. Whoever you are, we wanna hear what you think about Hitman down in the comments. We'll have a before you buy out and a bunch of other videos probably. So if you're new, you should subscribe and hit that notification bell because we put out stuff every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.